Jiwoo pulled her cargo ship into the docking bay and let out a long breath. Another delivery, another checkpoint, another day of dealing with alien customs officers who thought they were better than everyone else. She had been doing this job for 3 years now, moving goods across the galaxy and keeping her head down. That was the key to survival out here. Stay quiet. Stay professional. Don't make waves. She grabbed her datapad with all the shipping documents and headed toward the customs gate. The station was busy today. Dozens of different alien species moved through the corridors, speaking in languages that sounded like clicks, whistles, and growls. Jiwoo had learned to understand most of them, at least enough to do business. The customs gate stood ahead, a massive archway with scanning equipment built into the walls. 4 guards waited there, all of them Velcrin. They looked like giant insects standing on 2 legs, with hard shells covering their bodies and multiple eyes that never seemed to blink. Jiwoo had dealt with Velcrin before. They were not friendly. She walked up to the checkpoint and held out her datapad. "Good morning. I have a cargo delivery for the inner colonies. Medical supplies and minerals. Everything is documented here." The lead guard, whose name badge said Thask, took the datapad with one of his claw-like hands. He did not look at it. Instead, all 4 of his eyes focused on Jiwoo, looking her up and down like she was something dirty on the floor. "Human," Thask said, his mandibles clicking together. The other 3 guards made sounds that Jiwoo recognized as laughter. Another primitive trying to play traitor. Jiwoo kept her face neutral. She had heard worse. "My documents are all in order. Standard cargo, standard route. This should only take a few minutes." Thask finally looked at the datapad, but he moved his claw across the screen very slowly, barely reading. "Medical supplies? From Earth?" He made the name of her home planet sound like a curse word. "How do we know these are not contaminated? Your world is diseased and dirty. The supplies were manufactured on Station Prime 7, not Earth," Jiwoo said calmly. "As you can see in the documents. They meet all Coalition health standards." One of the other guards leaned closer. "She thinks she knows the regulations," he clicked to his friends. So confident for such a weak species. Jiwoo felt her jaw tighten but said nothing. She had learned that responding to insults only made things worse. She just needed to get through this checkpoint and deliver her cargo. Then she could leave this station and not come back for a few months. Thask handed the datapad to one of his subordinates. "Run a full check on every item in the manifest. I want to verify every single entry." "Sir, that will take hours," the subordinate said, sounding surprised. "The documents appear complete." "Did I ask your opinion?" Thask snapped. "Do as I command." Jiwoo understood what was happening. This was not about her documents or her cargo. This was about power. Thask wanted to remind her that he was in charge and she was nothing. She had seen it 100 times before with different species at different checkpoints. "Is there a problem with my shipment?" Jiwoo asked, keeping her voice level. "The problem," Thask said, leaning down so his face was close to hers, "is that primitives like you think you can just fly through our space without proper respect. You newcomers do not understand how things work in civilized society." Other travelers passing through the checkpoint were watching now. A few looked sympathetic, but most just hurried past, not wanting to get involved. No one ever got involved when guards decided to harass someone. "I have shown nothing but respect," Jiwoo said. "I followed all protocols. My cargo is legal and documented. I am simply trying to do my job." Thask clicked his mandibles in amusement. "Your job?" "Yes, let us talk about that. You see, there is an additional inspection fee for cargo from suspicious origin points. Earth qualifies as suspicious. There is no such fee in the Coalition regulations," Jiwoo said carefully. "Are you calling me a liar?" Thask's voice turned dangerous. Jiwoo knew she was in trouble now. She could pay the bribe and lose money or refuse and probably have her cargo confiscated anyway. Either way, Thask would win. That was how these things always went for the weaker species. "I am simply stating what I know about the regulations," Jiwoo said. "If there has been a recent change, I apologize for my ignorance." "Oh, now she apologizes," one of the other guards said. "After showing such disrespect." Thask stood up straight and crossed his arms. "I am going to run your biological scan now. We need to make sure you are not carrying any diseases or contraband substances. Step into the scanner." Jiwoo felt her stomach drop. No, not the biological scanner. She had avoided those for 3 years by using smaller checkpoints and remote stations. But this was a major hub and there was no way around it. "Is that really necessary?" Jiwoo tried one last time. I have current health certificates, all issued by Coalition medical facilities. Are you refusing a security screening? Thask asked, his voice full of false concern. That would be a very serious violation. I would have to detain you and impound your ship. Jiwoo looked at the scanner, then back at Thask. She saw the satisfaction in his alien eyes. He thought he had won. He thought he had completely humiliated the weak human who did not know her place. Fine, Jiwoo said quietly. I will do the scan. She walked toward the scanner, a large cylindrical chamber with lights and sensors covering the inside. As she stepped in, she saw Thask and his guards watching her with amusement. They expected nothing interesting to happen, just another routine humiliation of a lesser species. The scanner door closed behind her. Lights began to move up and down her body, reading her biology at the molecular level. Jiwoo closed her eyes. Her quiet life was about to end. After 3 years of staying invisible, of being just another face in the crowd, everything was about to change. The scanner's lights turned from blue to red. An alarm started blaring loud and harsh. Jiwoo opened her eyes and saw the guards jump back from the scanner. Through the transparent wall, she could see Thask's shell turning pale. Then the computer voice spoke, broadcasting to the entire checkpoint in multiple languages. Warning, Deathworlder detected. Species origin, Earth. Class 12 hazard world. Native apex predator. Do not engage, maintain safe distance, recommend immediate diplomatic protocols. The checkpoint fell completely silent. Even the background noise of the busy station seemed to fade away. Jiwoo stood in the scanner and watched as fear spread across every face in the area. Thask stumbled backward, his confident posture completely gone. Deathworlder, he whispered. She is a Deathworlder. The scanner door opened and Jiwoo stepped out slowly, her hands raised to show she meant no harm. The checkpoint was in chaos. Travelers were running away from the gate, pushing and shoving to get distance from her. Alarm lights flashed red across the ceiling. The 3 junior guards had their weapons drawn, but held them with shaking hands pointed at the floor. Thask stood frozen in place, his exoskeleton now completely gray with fear. His mandibles clicked rapidly, a nervous gesture Jiwoo had seen before in stressed Velcrin. All 4 of his eyes were fixed on her like she was a bomb about to explode. I'm not going to hurt anyone, Jiwoo said, keeping her voice calm and quiet. I just want to deliver my cargo and leave. That is all I've ever wanted. Stay back, one of the junior guards said, his voice high with panic. Do not come any closer. Jiwoo stopped moving. She had been in this situation before, years ago when the truth first came out. She knew how terrified they were. She knew what the word Deathworlder meant to them. I have been coming through Coalition space for 3 years, Jiwoo said. I have never hurt anyone. I follow all the rules. I am not a threat. Not a threat? Thask's voice cracked. You are from a Class 12 world. Do you know what that means? Do you understand what you are? I know what the classification says, Jiwoo replied. But I am just a trader. I haul cargo. I am not— You are a monster, Thask interrupted, his confidence returning now that there was distance between them. Your entire species are monsters. We have all heard the stories. The Krydax pirates, what your kind did to them. Jiwoo felt tired. So tired of this. That was self-defense. The pirates attacked first. They killed 12 Krydax warriors, Thask shouted. 12 armed soldiers killed by 5 humans. Humans who should have died in the first minute of fighting. More station security was arriving now, their boots thundering through the corridor. Jiwoo kept her hands raised, not wanting to give anyone an excuse to shoot. She saw the lead security officer push through the crowd and felt a small bit of relief. It was Captain Yuna, another human who worked as a coalition liaison. Yuna was older than Jiwoo, maybe 40, with gray starting to show in her black hair. She wore the official coalition security uniform and carried herself with the calm authority of someone who had dealt with these situations many times before. Stand down, Yuna ordered the Velcrin guards. Lower your weapons. But Captain, she is a Deathworlder, Thask protested. The scanner confirmed it. I can read a scanner, Yuna said dryly. I am also a Deathworlder, in case you forgot. Are you planning to shoot me too? Thask looked confused, like his brain could not process this information. Yuna used his hesitation to walk over to Jiwoo, positioning herself between the trader and the guards. Are you injured? Yuna asked quietly. No, Jiwoo said. Just frustrated. I imagine you are. Yuna turned to address the crowd that had gathered. Everyone needs to calm down. This human has done nothing wrong. She passed through the scanner. That is all. Now everyone can go back to their business. Nothing wrong? Task found his voice again. She deceived us. She has been traveling through our space for years without declaring her species classification. There is no law requiring species declaration, Yuna said firmly. Humans have the same rights as any coalition citizen. We can travel freely, trade freely, and live freely. That includes not having to announce ourselves as Deathworlders every time we meet someone new. A new voice joined the conversation. Perhaps we should discuss what a Deathworlder actually is. An elderly Velcrin, much larger than Thask, pushed through the crowd. His shell was decorated with official markings that showed high rank. I am Station Master Kelvin. I think there has been enough panic for one day. Yuna nodded respectfully to Kelvin. Thank you, Station Master. Kelvin approached Jiwoo carefully but without obvious fear. He studied her for a long moment. I have lived for 60 years and never met a human in person before. You look so fragile. That is what everyone thinks, Jiwoo said, until they learn where I am from. Earth, Kelvin said the name carefully. I have read the reports. Your world should not be able to support life. The gravity alone would crush most species. The predators, the diseases, the extreme weather. How does anything survive on such a planet? We adapted, Jiwoo said simply, just like every other species adapted to their homeworld. But your adaptations made you into something different, Kelvin continued. Something stronger, faster, more durable than almost anything else in the galaxy. Your bones are like metal. Your muscles are like cables. Your ability to heal and endure pain is legendary. I still bleed, Jiwoo said. I can still die. I am not invincible. Kelvin made a clicking sound that might have been agreement. No, but you are close to it by our standards. Tell me, do you know about the Hyun incident? Jiwoo nodded. Everyone knows about that. Then you understand why there is fear, Kelvin said. 12 Krydax pirates against 5 humans. The pirates were experienced warriors with military weapons. The humans were civilian freighter crew. And when the fighting was over, all 12 pirates were dead and all 5 humans were still alive. Barely alive, Yuna added. I read the medical reports. They had injuries that would have killed any other species 3 times over. That is the point, Kelvin said. Your species does not die when it should die. You keep fighting when you should be dead. You survive wounds that are considered fatal for everyone else. This is why the scanner warns us. This is why there are protocols. I am not those 5 crew members, Jiwoo said, frustration creeping into her voice. I have never been in a fight. I have never hurt anyone. Why am I being treated like a criminal? You are not being treated like a criminal, Kelvin said gently. You're being treated like a dangerous animal that wandered into a city. People are scared. They do not know how to react. Most species in the coalition evolved on peaceful worlds. We have no concept of survival like yours. So what happens now? Jiwoo asked. Am I under arrest? Is my ship impounded? Kelvin looked at Thask, who was still standing at a distance. Officer Thask, did this human break any laws? Thask hesitated. She did not declare her species status. Which is not required, Kelvin said. Did she threaten anyone? No, but did she resist the scanner or any other security measures? No, Thask admitted quietly. Did she do anything except try to deliver her cargo and pass through my station peacefully? Thask said nothing. Kelvin turned back to Jiwoo. Then you are free to go. Your cargo will be released immediately. I apologize for this incident. Relief flooded through Jiwoo. Thank you, Station Master. However, Kelvin added, I must inform you that your identity as a Deathworlder is now on record. Other stations will know. Other species will know. Your quiet life is over. Jiwoo had expected this, but hearing it said out loud still hurt. I understand. Yuna put a hand on Jiwoo's shoulder. Come on, let me help you get your cargo loaded. And maybe we can talk about joining the Human Trader Coalition. There is safety in numbers. As they walked away from the checkpoint, Jiwoo could feel every eye in the station watching her. Some looked with fear. Some with curiosity. Some with something that might have been respect. Behind them, Thask stood alone at his checkpoint, his whole body trembling. He had mocked a Deathworlder. He had bullied and harassed an apex predator. And he was very, very lucky to still be alive. Jiwoo sat in the station's human section, a small area set aside for the few humans who lived or worked in Coalition space. Yuna had brought her here after the incident at the checkpoint, saying she needed time to calm down before dealing with her cargo. The walls were covered with pictures of Earth, images of mountains and oceans and cities. It made Jiwoo homesick. Want to talk about it? Yuna asked, setting down 2 cups of coffee. Real coffee, not the synthetic stuff most aliens drank. Not really, Jiwoo said, but she took the coffee anyway. The warmth felt good in her hands. You did well back there, Yuna continued, staying calm, keeping your hands visible, not reacting to their fear. A lot of humans would have gotten angry. Getting angry would have just made things worse. Jiwoo sipped the coffee. They were already terrified. If I had shown any aggression, someone might have shot me. Yuna nodded. True, but it is hard, is it not? Being treated like a monster when you have done nothing wrong. I have had 3 years of practice at staying invisible, Jiwoo said bitterly. I guess that is over now. It was always going to end eventually, Yuna said. You know that, right? The biological scanners are getting more common. More security checkpoints, more protocols. Eventually, every human in Coalition space gets scanned and classified. I was hoping for a few more years. Jiwoo stared into her coffee. Did you really read the reports about the Hyun incident? I wrote some of those reports, Yuna said. I was one of the peacekeepers who responded to the distress call. Jiwoo looked up in surprise. You were there? I was there, Yuna confirmed. And I will never forget what I saw. Do you know the full story? The real story? Not the legend that is spread through the galaxy? I know the basic facts. 5 humans, 12 pirates, everyone thought the humans would die. Yuna settled back in her chair. The freighter was called the Morning Star. Small cargo ship, standard crew of 5. The captain was a woman named Hyun, only 19 years old. Her father owned the ship and usually ran it. But he was sick that trip, so Hyun took command. The rest of the crew were all in their 20s. Kids, really. And the pirates? Jiwoo asked. Kridax, Yuna said. Reptilian species, strong and tough by Coalition standards. They are known for taking ships and selling the crew as slaves. They thought the Morning Star would be easy prey. A young crew, light weapons, far from any help. What happened? The pirates boarded the ship and immediately shot 2 of the crew members. Not fatal shots, they wanted slaves, not corpses, but enough to put them down. In any normal situation, that would be the end. 2 crew members badly wounded. 3 others facing 12 armed pirates. They should have surrendered. But they did not, Jiwoo said. No, they did not. Yuna's expression was distant, remembering. Hyun grabbed a pipe wrench and attacked. Just a simple tool, nothing special. But in her hands it became a weapon. She broke 3 pirates before they even understood what was happening. With a wrench? With a wrench, Yuna confirmed. Then the other 2 crew members joined in. One was an engineer named Taeho. He used a welding torch. The other was a cook named Bora. She fought with kitchen knives. Jiwoo tried to imagine it. 3 young humans with improvised weapons against 12 professional pirates. How did they win? They should not have won, Yuna said. By every logical calculation, they should have died in the first 10 minutes. But they did not die. The pirates shot them, stabbed them, beat them. The humans kept getting back up. They kept fighting. For how long? 3 hours, Yuna said quietly. The fight lasted 3 hours. The pirates sent out a distress call after the first hour, screaming about demons and monsters. They begged for help. But by the time we arrived, it was over. Jiwoo felt sick. All 12 pirates dead? All 12 dead, Yuna confirmed. And all 5 humans alive. Barely alive, but still breathing. Hyun had 14 broken bones. Taeho had lost so much blood that his heart should have stopped. Bora had a punctured lung and was still conscious. The 2 who had been shot first had crawled to the medical bay and treated each other, then came back to help. How is that even possible? That is what every species in the Coalition wanted to know, Yuna said. So they studied us. They studied Earth. And what they found scared them more than the fight itself. Yuna pulled up a holographic display showing Earth rotating in the air between them. Most Coalition species evolved on what we would call paradise worlds. Low gravity, mild weather, few predators, abundant food. Their biggest evolutionary challenge was competing with each other for mates. Sounds nice, Jiwoo muttered. It was nice for them, Yuna agreed. But Earth was different. Earth tried to kill everything that lived on it. Ice ages, volcanoes, meteor strikes, droughts, floods. And that was just the environment. Then there were the predators. The hologram changed to show various Earth animals. Bears, tigers, sharks, crocodiles. We evolved alongside creatures that could kill us, Yuna continued. So we developed tools, weapons, strategy. We learned to hunt in packs. We learned to track prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. We learned to heal from injuries that would kill other animals. We learned to ignore pain and fear because stopping meant death. Persistence hunting, Jiwoo said. I read about it. Humans would chase animals until they died from exhaustion. Exactly, Yuna said. We are not the fastest or strongest species on Earth, but we never stop. We never give up. And that trait, that stubborn refusal to die, is what terrifies the Coalition. So they made the Deathworlder protocols. They made the protocols to protect themselves from us, Yuna said, but also to protect us from them. Because once the story of the Hyun incident spread, some species saw us as a challenge. They wanted to prove that humans were not as dangerous as the legend said. Let me guess, Jiwoo said. They found out the legend was true. They found out the legend was actually weaker than the truth, Yuna said grimly. There have been 6 major incidents since Hyun. Every time humans were attacked. Every time the attackers regretted it. The Coalition Council finally declared that any unprovoked attack on a human would be considered attempted suicide, because that is what it effectively is. Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. Is that really what we are? Are we really just monsters with good PR? No, Yuna said firmly. That is the part the galaxy does not understand yet. Yes, we are dangerous. Yes, we can fight and survive better than almost any other species. But that is not all we are. What do you mean? Hyun did not fight for herself, Yuna explained. She fought to protect her crew. Taeho and Bora fought to protect each other. When I arrived, the first thing Hyun asked was whether her wounded crew members would survive. She was dying herself, but she was worried about them. Humans protect their pack, Jiwoo said slowly. We protect more than our pack, Yuna corrected. We protect the weak. We protect the innocent. We protect people we have never met because it is the right thing to do. That is also part of being human. We are dangerous, yes, but we are also the first ones to run toward danger when someone needs help. Do you think the Coalition will ever understand that? Yuna smiled sadly. Some already do. Station Master Kelvin, for example. He was scared, but he was also fair. He did not let fear make him unjust. There will be more like him. And the ones like Thask? Thask learned an important lesson today, Yuna said. He learned that treating people badly just because you can is dangerous. Not because we might hurt him, but because he might miss seeing who we really are. An alarm sounded through the station. Both women tensed. Yuna checked her communicator and her face went pale. What is it? Jiwoo asked. Security breach, Yuna said, standing quickly. Armed intruders in the cargo bay. They are taking hostages. Pirates? Worse, Yuna said, reading the details. Vrall mercenaries. And according to the report, they specifically asked for the location of the Deathworlder. Jiwoo felt ice in her stomach. They are looking for me? They are looking for you, Yuna confirmed. And they have already hurt people. Come on, we need to get you somewhere safe. But as they headed for the door, another message came through. Yuna stopped walking, her face going from pale to gray. What? Jiwoo demanded. They have a child hostage, Yuna said quietly. A Velcrin child. And they are threatening to kill her if you do not surrender yourself within 10 minutes. Jiwoo remembered the young Velcrin she had seen earlier at the checkpoint, holding her mother's hand and staring at Jiwoo with wide, fearful eyes. That might be Minji, Jiwoo said. Station Master Kelvin's granddaughter. Yuna looked at her. You do not have to do this. We can send in a tactical team. In 10 minutes? Jiwoo shook her head. They will kill her before the team gets there. Jiwoo, I am going, Jiwoo said firmly. That is what humans do, right? We protect the innocent, even when it is dangerous. Yuna stared at her for a long moment, then nodded. Then I am coming with you. You are not facing them alone. There are 12 of them, Jiwoo said. Yuna smiled grimly. Well, there were 12 Krydax pirates too. And look how that turned out. The cargo bay was in the lower section of the station, a massive space filled with containers and equipment. Jiwoo and Yuna approached carefully, staying in the shadows. Through the main entrance, they could see the Vrall mercenaries. They were large reptilian creatures bigger than most species Jiwoo had met. Their scales were dark green and covered in scars. Each one carried military-grade weapons. 12 of them, just like the report said, Yuna whispered. They have barricaded the main entrance. 3 hostages visible, the child and 2 others. Ji-woo could see little Minji huddled in the corner, her shell trembling with fear. Next to her was an adult Velkrin, probably her father, and a human man in medical clothing. The human looked calm despite the situation, his eyes constantly moving, assessing. Who is the human? Ji-woo asked. According to the manifest, that would be Dae-hyun, Yuna said, checking her datapad. Medical researcher heading to the inner colonies. He was in the cargo bay checking on his equipment when the Vral attacked. So we have 2 humans and 3 Vral mercenaries who think they can prove we are not that dangerous, Ji-woo said. 12 Vral, Yuna corrected. I counted 12 bodies. But only 3 who matter, Ji-woo said. The leader and his 2 lieutenants. The others are just following orders. The Vral leader was easy to spot. He was the largest, with a scar running down the side of his face. He stood in the center of the bay, his weapon held casually like he had done this 100 times before. I know you are out there, Deathworlder, the leader called out in the common coalition language. My name is Kresh. I have heard all the stories about your kind. The mighty humans who cannot be killed. The apex predators who make the galaxy tremble. Ji-woo said nothing, watching. I think the stories are lies, Kresh continued. I think humans are just another weak species who got lucky a few times. So I am going to prove it. Come out now, surrender yourself, and I will let these hostages go. Refuse, and I will start killing them. Starting with the child, Minji whimpered. Her father tried to shield her with his body. He is serious, Yuna said quietly. Vral, do not bluff. If you do not show yourself, he will kill her. I know, Ji-woo said. She was already moving toward the entrance, but Yuna grabbed her arm. Wait, we need a plan. The plan is simple, Ji-woo said. I surrender, get them talking, and wait for an opening. That is a terrible plan. It is the only plan that keeps Minji alive for more than 2 minutes, Ji-woo replied. Besides, I have an advantage they do not know about. What advantage? Ji-woo nodded toward Dae-hyun, the human hostage. He had noticed them in the shadows and made a tiny gesture, just a small movement of his hand. To anyone else it would mean nothing, but to another human it was clear communication. He was ready. He was waiting. There are 2 Deathworlders in that room, Ji-woo said. They only know about one. Yuna understood. You are going to coordinate with him? If he is thinking what I'm thinking, yes. Ji-woo took a deep breath. Give me 5 minutes. If this goes bad, send in your tactical team. 5 minutes, Yuna agreed. And Ji-woo? Do not die. I have too much paperwork already. Ji-woo smiled despite the situation. Then she stepped out of the shadows, her hands raised. I am here, she called out. I am the Deathworlder you are looking for. Kresh turned to face her, his reptilian eyes narrowing. So small, he said. So fragile looking. This is what the galaxy fears? Let the hostages go, Ji-woo said. You wanted me. Here I am. Oh, I will let them go, Kresh said. Eventually. But first I want to test something. I want to see if you bleed like everyone else. He raised his weapon, but one of his lieutenants spoke up. Commander, the protocols say... I do not care about protocols, Kresh snapped. The coalition has become weak, afraid of these primitives. Someone needs to show the galaxy the truth. Ji-woo walked forward slowly, keeping her movements non-threatening. What truth is that? That you are nothing special, Kresh said. That the Hyun incident was luck. That 5 humans did not really defeat 12 Krydax warriors. The story must be exaggerated. I was not there, Ji-woo said. I cannot tell you what happened. But I can tell you that I do not want to fight. I just want the hostages released. Kresh laughed, a harsh sound. Of course you do not want to fight. Because you know you will lose. You know that all the stories are just stories. Ji-woo stopped walking when she was about 10 meters from Kresh. Close enough to talk, far enough to react if he fired. If that is what you believe, then why do you need 12 soldiers to face one unarmed woman? Several of the Vral shifted uncomfortably. Kresh's eyes narrowed. You think you are clever? Trying to make me look weak in front of my team? I am just asking a question, Ji-woo said. If humans are not dangerous, why the big show? Why the hostages? Why not just fight me yourself and prove your point? Kresh stared at her for a long moment. Ji-woo could see his pride warring with his caution. He wanted to prove he was brave, but he also knew the stories. Even if he did not believe them, they were in his head. You know what I think? Kresh said slowly. I think you are trying to manipulate me. I think you are scared and trying to trick me into making a mistake. Maybe, Ji-woo admitted. Or maybe I just think this whole situation is pointless. You want to prove humans are not dangerous? Fine, let the hostages go and fight me. Win and you get your proof. Lose and, well, at least you learn something. One of the other hostages, Minji's father, spoke up. Please just let my daughter go. She is only a child. She has nothing to do with this. Kresh glanced at the Velcrin father. Your daughter is insurance. She stays until I am satisfied. Jiwoo felt anger building in her chest but pushed it down. Getting emotional would not help. She needed to stay calm, stay smart. She looked at Daehyun again. He was watching her intently. She blinked twice, slowly. He blinked back once. They had a language now, simple but effective. I have a counteroffer, Jiwoo said to Kresh. You let the child go right now. Keep the adults if you want insurance. But the child goes free. Why should I do that? Because even you have to have some honor, Jiwoo said. You are a warrior, right? Warriors do not hide behind children. Kresh's scales rippled, a sign of irritation. You dare question my honor? I dare question whether you actually have any, Jiwoo said, her voice hard. Real warriors fight. Cowards threaten children. The cargo bay went very quiet. Every Vral was watching Kresh now, waiting to see how he would respond to the insult. Jiwoo knew she was taking a huge risk. She was pushing him, making him angry, but she needed him off balance. Kresh took a step forward. You want to see a real warrior? Fine, I will show you. He gestured to one of his soldiers. Let the child go, sir? The soldier questioned. Let her go. Kresh roared. I do not need a hostage to handle one weak human. The soldier grabbed Minji and pushed her toward the exit. The little Velcrin stumbled, looked back at her father, then ran. Jiwoo heard small feet clattering away down the corridor. One safe, two still in danger. There, Kresh said. Your wish is granted. Now what? Now we talk, Jiwoo said. You tell me what you really want. Because I do not believe this is just about proving a point. Kresh smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. You are right. This is about business. There are people who pay very well for exotic specimens, especially specimens from Deathworld. You are worth a lot of money, human. So this was never about honor, Jiwoo said. It was always about profit. Honor does not pay for ships and weapons, Kresh said. But selling a Deathworlder to fight in illegal arenas? That pays very well indeed. Behind Kresh, Jiwoo saw Daehyun slowly moving his hand toward something on the floor, a piece of metal debris. He was getting ready. You made one mistake, Jiwoo said to Kresh. What mistake? You assumed I came alone. Jiwoo smiled. And you forgot that there are two humans in this room. Kresh's eyes widened as he realized. He spun toward Daehyun just as the researcher grabbed the metal debris and threw himself at the nearest Vral guard. And then everything exploded into violence. Daehyun moved like a fighter, not a doctor. The metal debris caught the Vral guard in the throat and the creature went down gurgling. Before the body hit the ground, Daehyun had grabbed the fallen weapon and was firing at the others. Jiwoo did not waste the opening. She dove to the side as Kresh fired where she had been standing, rolled behind a cargo container and came up running. Her body remembered training she had taken years ago, muscle memory taking over. The container exploded behind her as Vral weapons tore through the metal, but she was already moving to the next position. Kill them both, Kresh roared. I want them alive if possible, but kill them if you must. The cargo bay turned into chaos. Vral soldiers spread out trying to pin down the two humans, but the humans were not where the Vral expected them to be. Jiwoo climbed onto a stack of containers using the high ground. Daehyun stayed low, moving through the shadows. They fought like what they were, persistence hunters who had evolved to outlast their prey. One Vral spotted Jiwoo and fired. The plasma bolt caught her in the shoulder, burning through cloth and skin. Pain exploded through her body, white and hot. A Vral would have gone down screaming. Most coalition species would have passed out from shock. Jiwoo gritted her teeth and kept moving. The burn hurt worse than anything she had felt in years, but pain was just information. Her body was telling her she was damaged. She already knew that. She did not need to stop. She dropped from the containers onto a Vral who was focused on where Daehyun had been. Her weight and Earth's gravity training made the impact devastating. The Vral went down hard. Jiwoo grabbed a cargo hook from the floor and swung it like a club. The metal connected with another Vral's head and the creature dropped. She should be down, one of the Vral shouted. I hit her clean. They do not stay down, another one screamed. Just like the stories, fear was spreading through the Vral ranks. They had expected an easy fight. They had expected the human to fall like any other species. Instead, she was bleeding, burned, and still fighting. Daehyun was in his own battle on the other side of the bay. 3 Vral had surrounded him, but he was using the environment against them. He kicked over a container of industrial lubricant and the floor became slippery. The Vral, with their heavy bodies and clawed feet, struggled for balance. Daehyun, lighter and more agile, danced around them. Research position, they said. Daehyun muttered as he dodged a weapon strike. Safe civilian work, they said. He grabbed a piece of piping and used it to vault over a Vral, landing behind it and delivering a kick to the back of its knee. The creature went down with a howl. Kresh was trying to maintain control of his team, but everything was falling apart. His soldiers were panicking, making mistakes, and the 2 humans were taking advantage of every single error. Form up, Kresh ordered. Back-to-back formation. Do not let them separate you. The remaining Vral tried to regroup, but Jiwoo was already moving. She grabbed Minji's father, who was still huddled in the corner. Can you run? She asked. Yes, the Velcrin said, his voice shaking. Then run. Get out of here. Find security. But you are injured. I will be fine. Go! The Velcrin father ran, keeping low. One of the Vral tried to stop him, but Daehyun appeared from nowhere and tackled the creature. They went down in a tangle of limbs rolling across the floor. Jiwoo's vision was starting to blur from the pain and blood loss. Her shoulder was on fire, but she could not stop, not yet. There were still 8 Vral standing and they were getting organized again. Kresh pointed at her. You stop, this does not have to continue. Surrender now and I will get you medical treatment. Like I trust you, Jiwoo said, her voice rough. She was leaning against a container, trying to look casual but actually using it for support. Her legs were shaking. You are going to die from that wound, Kresh said. Plasma burns are fatal without treatment. Maybe for your species, Jiwoo said. We heal differently, it was a bluff. The burn was bad, possibly very bad. But she needed to keep Kresh talking, keep him distracted. Across the bay, she could see Daehyun slowly circling around, getting into position. Brave words from someone who can barely stand, Kresh observed. He was not stupid. He could see she was weakening. I have been barely able to stand before, Jiwoo said. Still here. Still breathing. Kresh raised his weapon, aiming carefully. Not for much longer. A voice rang out from the entrance. Drop your weapons. This is Coalition Security. Yuna burst in with a full tactical team, 12 officers in full armor. But they stopped short when they saw the scene. 4 Vral were unconscious or dead on the floor. Daehyun was fighting 2 more in close combat, his medical coat torn and bloody. And Jiwoo was facing Kresh, both of them armed, both of them ready. Stand down, Yuna ordered. All of you. The humans attacked us, Kresh shouted. We were defending ourselves. That is a lie and you know it, Yuna said. We have video of you taking hostages. You are under arrest, Kresh looked around. His team was broken. 4 down, 2 fighting Daehyun and the rest looking scared and uncertain. The odds had turned completely against him. This is not over, Kresh said to Jiwoo. The galaxy will learn the truth about your kind. The truth? Jiwoo pushed off from the container, standing on her own despite the pain. Here is the truth. You came here to prove humans are weak. You took hostages, including a child. You attacked us. And now you are going to prison. She walked toward him slowly, each step requiring focus. The cargo hook was still in her hand. She stopped 2 meters away from Kresh and dropped the hook. It clanged on the metal floor. But I am not going to kill you, Jiwoo said quietly. Because that is also the truth about humans. We can fight. We can survive. We can endure. But we do not have to be monsters. We choose not to be. Kresh stared at her. For the first time, she saw something other than arrogance in his eyes. Understanding, maybe? Or respect? Deathworlder, he said, his voice carrying the weight of the word. Human. Jiwoo corrected. Just human. She collapsed. Her legs finally gave out and she went down hard. The pain from her shoulder exploded into her whole body and the world started to go dark. She heard Yuna shouting orders, heard Daehyun fighting off the last Vral, heard the sound of weapons being disarmed and prisoners being secured. And then she heard a small voice, high and scared. Is she dead? Did the bad people kill her? No, little one. That was Station Master Kelvin. She is hurt but not dead. Deathworlders are very hard to kill. She saved me, Minji's voice said. She made them let me go. I know, child. I know. Jiwoo felt small hands touching her good arm, gentle and careful. Minji's voice was very close now. Thank you, human. Thank you for being brave. Jiwoo managed to open her eyes. Minji was there, her shell no longer trembling with fear. The little Velcrin was looking at Jiwoo like she was a hero, not a monster. "You are welcome," Jiwoo whispered. Medical personnel arrived, human doctors who knew how to treat plasma burns on Earth-born bodies. They worked quickly, efficiently. Jiwoo heard them talking about tissue damage and healing rates and survival percentages. The numbers were not great, but they were not impossible either. Daehyun appeared above her, his own face covered in cuts and bruises. "That was insane," he said, but he was smiling. "Good insane." "But insane, you too," Jiwoo said. "Medical researcher?" "I trained as a field medic before going into research," Daehyun admitted. "Old habits, good habits." Yuna came over as the medics loaded Jiwoo onto a stretcher. "All 12 Vral are in custody. The hostages are safe, and you are probably going to have a dozen medals by the end of the week." "I do not want medals," Jiwoo said. "I just want my cargo delivered." "Your cargo is the least of your worries right now," Yuna said. The entire station saw what happened. The entire sector is going to hear about it. 2 humans against 12 Vral mercenaries. They are going to make you legends. "Great," Jiwoo said weakly. "Just what I wanted." As they carried her out of the cargo bay, Jiwoo saw the other species in the station watching. Some looked scared. Some looked curious. But many looked at her with something different now. Not just fear. Not just respect. They looked at her and saw someone who had risked everything to save a child. Someone who had fought not out of anger or hatred but to protect the innocent. They saw a Deathworlder, yes, but they also saw a hero. Station Master Kelvin stepped forward as they passed. "Officer Thask has been disciplined for his treatment of you," he said formally. "He wishes to apologize in person when you are recovered." "Tell him we are even," Jiwoo said. He learned. "That is enough." Kelvin's mandibles clicked in what might have been approval. The Coalition has updated its Deathworlder protocols. The new edition reads, "Humans are dangerous when threatened, but they are also the first to defend those who cannot defend themselves. This may be the most dangerous thing about them." Jiwoo smiled despite the pain. That actually sounds about right. 3 days later, Jiwoo was released from the medical bay. Her shoulder was bandaged and healing faster than the doctors had expected. Deathworlder biology at work. She found Yuna waiting for her with an official message. "From the Council," Yuna said. "They want you to speak at the next diplomatic assembly. Share your perspective on human coalition relations." "I am just a cargo hauler," Jiwoo protested.